Is your refrigerator, that trusted guardian of freshness, secretly transforming some of your healthiest foods into hidden health hazards? What if the simple act of trying to preserve your natural ingredients is actually creating dangerous toxins, stripping away vital nutrients, and quietly increasing your risk of serious illnesses like cancer, diabetes, and other metabolic disorders? We're not talking about processed junk food here. We're talking about the wholesome, natural staples you bring home from the market, convinced you're doing your body good by tucking them safely into the fridge. But for millions, this common habit is a critical mistake that could be silently undermining their well-being. Consider for a moment those raw potatoes you might routinely chill, believing they'll last longer, or that perfectly ripe tomato you pop into the crisper drawer. And what about the trusty loaf of bread, often relegated to the fridge in an effort to ward off mold? For countless households, these are everyday rituals, yet they could be inadvertently doing far more harm than good, turning seemingly innocent ingredients into potent threats. In this crucial discussion, we'll unveil the surprising and often overlooked effects that refrigeration has on these everyday foods, revealing precisely what you need to do to safeguard your health and your family's. So, prepare to rethink everything you thought you knew about food storage and empower yourself with knowledge that could quite literally change your life. One of the most widespread and potentially dangerous errors millions commit daily involves the seemingly benign act of storing raw potatoes in the refrigerator. It feels like a perfectly logical decision, doesn't it? After all, cold is synonymous with preservation. Yet, with potatoes, the exact opposite occurs, setting the stage for a concerning chemical reaction. When potatoes are subjected to the cold temperatures of a fridge, the complex starches within them rapidly convert into simple sugars. While this might sound harmless, it's where a significant problem arises. Later, when these refrigerated potatoes are cooked at high temperatures, whether baked, roasted, or fried, those newly formed sugars react with amino acids to create a highly toxic compound known as acrylamide. This isn't just a minor irritant. Science has compellingly linked acrylamide to an increased risk of various cancers, including ovarian, esophageal, kidney, and even endometrial cancer. Have you ever noticed a potato developing an excessively golden, crispy, or even slightly burnt appearance when cooked? That enticingly crisp crust that many find so appealing is alarmingly often laden with these very toxins. Even more concerning, a potato can appear perfectly cooked without any visible signs of burning, yet if it was refrigerated prior to preparation, its acrylamide levels can still be considerably elevated, even if you can't detect it by taste. Furthermore, the refrigerator's inherent humidity inadvertently fosters the proliferation of mold, bacteria, and fungi on potatoes, meaning that not only does the cold contribute to toxicity, but it also paradoxically accelerates spoilage, leading to soft, darkened potatoes that quickly become destined for the trash bin. The optimal solution is refreshingly simple and time-tested. Store potatoes outside the refrigerator in a cool, dry, and well-ventilated space, shielded from direct light. A breathable basket or a simple cloth bag is ideal, absolutely avoiding airtight plastic bags. For added health benefits, whenever possible, consume potatoes with their skins, as this helps to stabilize blood sugar levels. And as a final, crucial cooking tip, always aim to keep temperatures below 180 degrees Celsius, 356 degrees Celsius, to minimize acrylamide formation. Now, shift your attention to an even more ubiquitous kitchen habit: refrigerating tomatoes. Your refrigerator's crisper drawer is likely brimming with them, yet this widespread practice is fundamentally flawed. The cold temperatures inflict damage upon the tomato's delicate internal membranes, significantly compromising its texture and perhaps most notably, its vibrant flavor. More critically, refrigeration obstructs the tomato's natural ripening process, a vital stage during which its concentration of lycopene, a potent antioxidant, flourishes. Lycopene is a powerhouse compound, lauded for its protective effects against premature cellular aging, cardiovascular diseases, inflammation, and even certain types of cancer, primarily by reducing cellular oxidation, the silent rusting process within the body. By chilling a tomato, you effectively halt this beneficial antioxidant from reaching its full potential. Beyond the nutritional impact, consider the sensory experience. Who hasn't encountered a cold, watery, and disappointingly bland tomato? That unappealing result is the direct consequence of cold, systematically dismantling the fruit's intricate cellular structure from the inside out. The remedy is straightforward. Keep your tomatoes out of the fridge, ideally in an airy basket or bowl, away from direct sunlight. For those eager to accelerate the ripening of a green tomato, a clever trick involves placing it alongside a banana or an apple. These fruits naturally release ethylene gas, a potent ripening agent. However, exercise caution and avoid consuming tomatoes with pronounced green sections, as these can contain solanine, a potentially toxic substance. Moving on to another common kitchen staple, let's address the third pervasive mistake: storing bread in the refrigerator under the misguided assumption that it fends off mold. While noble in intent, this practice is a classic misstep. Cold temperatures dramatically accelerate the loss of moisture from bread, simultaneously disrupting its delicate internal structure. The inevitable outcome is a loaf that rapidly transforms into a hard, dry, and flavorless shadow of its former self. This degradation is particularly pronounced in whole grain or naturally fermented varieties. Paradoxically, the very humidity circulating within the refrigerator can promote rather than prevent mold growth. Despite its perceived dryness, the interior of a fridge harbors a significant amount of circulating moisture that creates an opportune environment for mold spores to thrive and multiply at an accelerated rate. For optimal freshness, if you anticipate consuming your bread within 2 days, store it in an airtight container or a breathable cloth bag, keeping it away from light and excessive humidity. For longer-term preservation, the freezer is your ultimate ally. Freezing bread is unequivocally the safest and most effective method to retain its essential nutrients and eliminate waste. Furthermore, a remarkable benefit emerges when frozen bread is later heated in a toaster, oven, or skillet. It develops resistant starch, a beneficial type of fiber that significantly enhances digestion, helps stabilize blood sugar levels, and nourishes your vital gut microbiota. Now, let's explore a common misstep concerning one of the world's most nutritious fruits, the avocado. Many instinctively tuck a firm green avocado into the fridge, believing it will extend its shelf life. However, this seemingly harmless action can irrevocably compromise the texture, flavor, and precious nutrients of this superfood. Avocados are inherently sensitive to cold, especially when unripe. Premature refrigeration deactivates the crucial enzymes responsible for their natural ripening process. The result is a frustratingly hard exterior combined with a stringy, fibrous, and often discolored interior, accompanied by a bitter taste and a diminished concentration of its beneficial active compounds. Few realize that this timing error prevents the avocado from reaching its full nutritional potential, stripping it of some of its healthy fats, gut-regulating fibers, and essential antioxidants vital for cardiovascular and brain health. The straightforward solution is to allow your avocado to ripen naturally outside the refrigerator at room temperature. For a clever trick to hasten the ripening of an unyielding avocado, place it in a paper bag with a banana or an apple. These fruits emit ethylene, a natural gas that stimulates ripening. Within a day or two, you'll likely have a perfectly ripe avocado ready for consumption. Once the avocado is ripe, it can then be stored in the fridge, but only for a maximum of 2 days. If you've cut an avocado and wish to preserve the remaining half, apply a few drops of lemon juice or place a slice of lime directly over the exposed pulp. This ingenious method prevents oxidation, maintaining its vibrant green color and fresh flavor for longer. Should you anticipate not using a ripe avocado within a couple of days, freezing it is an excellent option. Frozen avocado retains its high nutritional value, making it perfect for smoothies, sauces, or homemade guacamole, and can be stored this way for up to 6 months. Next on our list is a globally consumed fruit, almost universally stored incorrectly, the humble banana. The moment they arrive home from the market, most people instinctively place bananas in the refrigerator. This, however, is a fundamental error. A banana's peel is exquisitely sensitive to cold temperatures. Upon refrigeration, the peel rapidly begins to darken, even if the fruit's flesh remains perfectly edible inside. This visual change isn't a sign of ripening, but rather the degradation of its natural pigments. Internally, the impact is even more profound. The cold alters the banana's texture, making it unpleasantly mealy, with a diminished flavor and reduced bioavailability of its nutrients. Crucially, it's important to understand that the riper a banana becomes, the higher its glycemic index. This means a very ripe banana releases its sugars into the bloodstream more quickly, leading to rapid spikes in glucose and insulin. Over time, such fluctuations can contribute to increased hunger, greater fat accumulation, and elevate the risk of conditions like insulin resistance, diabetes, and even certain cancers. Therefore, the ideal banana for consumption is one with a vibrant yellow peel, devoid of dark spots or overly soft areas. To store bananas correctly and delay natural ripening, avoid the cold and instead try this simple yet effective method. Wrap the stems of the banana bunch with aluminum foil or plastic wrap. This clever trick significantly slows down the release of ethylene gas, extending the fruit's freshness. If you find yourself with an abundance of ripe bananas and wish to prevent waste, freezing them is an excellent strategy. Simply peel and slice them, then store in airtight containers or freezer bags, ready to be incorporated into smoothies, pancakes, or healthy desserts at your convenience. We now arrive at a particularly serious point, involving a powerful food that, if stored improperly, can transform into a genuine health hazard: garlic. Yes, garlic, so widely celebrated for its potent medicinal properties, and rightly so, can lose much of its beneficial potency when relegated to the fridge. Even more alarmingly, under specific conditions, its storage can inadvertently foster the growth of truly dangerous bacteria. Let's delve into why. When raw garlic, especially if it's already chopped or peeled, is stored in the refrigerator, the cold actively encourages premature sprouting. Those distinct green shoots that emerge from the center of the cloves signal a metabolic shift within the garlic. This change directly reduces the concentration of allicin, the most crucial active compound in garlic, responsible for its remarkable anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer, and cardiovascular and brain protective effects. However, the greater peril arises when individuals prepare homemade mixtures of chopped garlic infused with olive oil, storing them in a jar at room temperature. While seemingly practical and convenient, this combination creates a perfect, oxygen-deprived environment for the proliferation of Clostridium botulinum, the insidious bacterium that causes botulism. Botulism is a severe neurological illness that can lead to paralysis and, in extreme cases, even prove fatal. Therefore, the correct and safest way to store whole garlic is in its natural state, unpeeled, in a dry, cool, airy place, shielded from direct light. If the convenience of having pre-chopped garlic on hand appeals to you, the safest method is to freeze it. Simply chop your garlic, portion it into small molds or freezer bags, and store it in the freezer. This ensures you preserve its flavor, beneficial properties, and most importantly, its safety. Finally, we come to the last item on our list, and perhaps the most astonishing: honey. For generations, honey has been lauded as a superior, healthier alternative to refined sugar. Indeed, it possesses an array of natural compounds brimming with anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, and antioxidant properties. Yet all these incredible benefits can be diminished or even negated and potentially transformed into a risk if honey is stored incorrectly. A common error involves placing honey in the refrigerator. Many individuals do this with the intention of better preserving it, but the outcome is precisely the opposite of what's desired. Cold temperatures induce a process called crystallization, where the honey's natural sugars separate from the water content. This results in honey becoming grainy, opaque, and considerably harder, rendering it difficult to use. Herein lies the subsequent problem. Upon encountering crystallized honey, many wrongly assume it has spoiled. In an attempt to fix it, they resort to the worst possible methods, heating it in a microwave or directly in a pan. However, when honey is heated above 40 degrees Celsius, 104 degrees Celsius, it suffers a significant loss of its beneficial enzymes and antioxidants, effectively stripping away its medicinal potency. The optimal and simplest way to store honey is at room temperature, in a tightly sealed jar, kept away from direct sunlight and humidity. This method impeccably preserves its natural liquid texture, delicate aroma, and all its inherent beneficial properties. However, a critical caveat remains. Despite its natural origin, honey is exceptionally rich in sugar. Consequently, excessive consumption carries the identical health risks as refined sugar. It elevates blood sugar, places undue strain on the pancreas, increases triglyceride levels, and can contribute to fat accumulation in the liver and chronic inflammation throughout the body. Honey is not a harmless indulgence. It is powerful, yes, but it should be approached akin to medicine, with careful moderation. A modest teaspoon, perhaps once or twice daily, can be genuinely beneficial in specific contexts, such as soothing a cold or a sore throat. But integrating it as an everyday sugar substitute into everything you consume can sadly yield the exact opposite of your intended health benefits. So, if you've been consuming honey liberally, believing it to be a universally healthier alternative to any other sugar, exercise caution. In excess, your body's metabolic response, insulin spikes, heightened hunger, increased abdominal fat, and a greater susceptibility to metabolic diseases will ultimately be the same. To summarize, here are the 7 common foods you should immediately stop storing in your refrigerator. Raw potatoes, which can become a source of potentially carcinogenic acrylamide. Tomatoes, which lose their flavor, ideal texture, and vital antioxidants like lycopene. Bread, which quickly dries out, loses its inherent qualities, and ironically promotes mold growth. Unripe avocados, whose ripening process stalls in the cold, leading to nutrient loss. Bananas, which suffer from peel darkening, altered flavor, and an increased glycemic index when chilled. Garlic, which can sprout, lose its allicin content, and pose a severe botulism risk if improperly stored in oil. And finally, honey, which crystallizes in the cold and subsequently loses its therapeutic properties if overheated. If you recognize yourself in one or more of these common mistakes, please do not blame yourself. The vast majority of people make these choices genuinely believing they are protecting their health and food. But now, armed with this essential knowledge, and by implementing these remarkably simple adjustments, you can significantly enhance the protection of both your food and, most importantly, your body. Share in the comments below which of these surprising mistakes you've been making without realizing it, and if this content has offered you valuable insight, please show your support by liking the video, sharing it with family and friends who might benefit, and subscribing to the Global Health Guide channel for more life-changing health tips.